Hello, my name is Anastasia, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing what everyone else has been doing for the past like 10 days and I've been slacking off so I didn't do it, and that is the mid-year book freakout tag. So I've already filmed this one, but I was in the living room. It was one of those really hot days, which of course you can't see right now because it's gloomy outside and it's raining, but I was sweating buckets and it turned out to be like me sounding like I'm running a marathon, so let's do this again. So I believe this tag was originally created by Books with Lala. I'll link down below the 2019 tag that she did, and let's get to it. Okay, I had to open the lights because this could not go on, it was way too dark. So let's begin. The first question for this tag is the best book you've read in 2020, and that's a difficult question because I read a lot of great books. I've read like The Lies of Lord Clamora, which was brilliant, The Bear and the Nightingale, which was also brilliant, and The Winner's Curse, and a bunch of great non-fiction. However, the book that has kind of stuck with me and like the feeling it left, like the magical feeling it left, was amazing. It's The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And that's because my phone is buzzing. What the hell? I cannot stop thinking about the days that I was reading it. I flew through it. I was completely encaptured by the world. It takes place in Russia and it's based on Russian folklore. It's about a 7-year-old, I think, called Vasya, and we follow her through the years until I think she probably is 15, somewhere there, and we watch her grow up and we see how unruly she is. She's not, you know, the very calm and ladylike girl that her family wants to have. She's playing a lot with the house spirits and she goes off to the forest without giving anyone any warning, and that's how she gets entangled into the magical side of Russia. And you also have the Prince of Winter or something like that, or the Prince of the Night, and there's a bit of a battle between his brother, who is probably Death, I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly, and him, and Vasya gets entangled into that. And there are so many elements in this story, from religion to, you know, the old gods and the old spirits and the new religion and the fear of God and family and history, and just, it's amazing because you get to learn all of that and you get to learn a little bit about Russia, but the writing is beautiful and it reads like a fairy tale. So it just sweeps you off your feet, and it's one of those amazing stories that I don't think anyone would read and not like. I've come to realize that whatever reads like a fairy tale I love, because last year I read Uprooted and it was also my favorite book of the year, tied with The Final Empire, but still like one of my favorite books of the year. I just love anything that reads like a fairy tale. So if you have any recommendations, do write them down below for me because I'm all for fairy tales. Next question is best sequel so far this year, and that's hands down The Winner's Crime by Marie Radkowski. I read the entire The Winner's Curse trilogy this month. It was amazing. I cannot even, I'm still trying to gather all my thoughts into notes and make the appropriate the appropriate reviews. But I can tell you that the second book was my favorite of the trilogy, which doesn't happen often because we have the syndrome of the second book syndrome, that's what it's called, where the second book is never as good as the first. But this time, the second book was better than the first book. Better than the first book. The first book is based on, am I holding this correctly? I think so. The first book is based on the Greek-Roman history when Greece was enslaved by Rome, and it's about Haran, a country that has been enslaved by the Valorians, and the general's daughter who buys a slave and they kind of fall in love. And it's very, very political, it's very slow burn, it's beautifully, intricately written, it's very well researched. And the second book takes place in a whole other setting. I can't tell you where because it's a spoiler, but it's extremely politically plays with the strategies and the lies and politics and, you know, the schemes that are happening behind like each powerful person's back. The romance gets way more complex in the second book because the stakes are higher and the communication between the characters is just, it's killing me, but I also understand it. So the second book hurt me, literally hurt me, but it was also brilliant. I know I didn't make sense. I understand that I didn't make sense, but believe me, it's fantastic. You should read this. Third question is a new release that you haven't read but really want to, and for that it's Felix Ever After by Kaysen Calendar, I believe. And it's about a black transgender boy navigating his life in school until suddenly he gets many transphobic messages by an anonymous user. And I believe he also gets tangled into a love triangle, and it's all about self-discovery and acceptance and all of that. And it sounds like a fantastic book. The cover is just gorgeous and the reviews for it have been amazing. Like everyone has been praising this book, and I really want to read it. And of course the fourth question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I had to look up the releases for the second half of the year for this question because I don't keep up with releases. I know I should, especially during this time where bookstores and authors are having a hard time because of the economy and coronavirus. However, I have so many books to read from like the beginning of 2020 and 2019 and 2018 and 2017 and 2016 and 2015. I'm so behind on releases, it's unreal. I need like 3 years to look at the releases of the year. I'm gonna look at the new releases of 2020 when it's 2023. There is actually one book that I do really want to read, and I believe is coming out in the second half of 2020, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I don't know a lot about this book. I think it's about a girl that and her relationship with death during the years or something like that. I believe I read that in like one of V.E. Schwab's tweets like 6 months ago, but I have been waiting for this book for a while, and I love V.E. Schwab's writing and V.E. Schwab's amazing talent for writing and plot weaving, and like she's a wizard. I don't know why I'm waving a pen around, but I just drank some Red Bull and I'm very hyper. Biggest disappointment of the year for me goes to Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Now, I've talked about this book a lot on my channel, like I believe in 4 different videos. I still have a review coming. It's on the editing stage. Basically, I just love this book. I loved it. I reread it so many times, and then there was a 4-year gap where I didn't read it, and I reread it again for a readathon like a month ago or a month and a half ago, and I realized how problematic it is. The way it portrays female relationships is extremely problematic. The way it portrays cheating. I think my biggest problem wasn't even the cheating, was the relationships between girls. There was so much slut-shaming, hate between girls, very one-dimensional characters. It was all about the romance and nothing else. There was no meaningful scene between friends. Anna was completely obsessed with Etienne, and Etienne with Anna. Like, it wasn't all on her. I wanted more of Paris and friendships and new experiences, but all I got was a teenage girl obsessed with a boy who was in a relationship. Biggest surprise of the year so far for me goes to The Winner's Curse by Mary Rakowski. Where is the book? There is the book. It's so good. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I thought this was gonna be the typical hate to love romance, which I love, by the way, but I just thought it was gonna be like really simplistic way of developing that trope, like a lot of books during the time this one came out. I think it was like 2014 or something. I was wrong. Very wrong. It's a beautiful book, and it goes to show that you shouldn't judge a book for the year it it came out. I did that before this one as well. I'm quick to judge books. I did that with Unspoken by Sarah Rees Brennan, and it's one of my favorite trilogies right now. Yeah, I know, I judged too much. I'm so sorry. Also, if you want to judge this book by its cover, come on, it's beautiful. Favorite new author for me, I know I'm expected to say Marie Rakowski, and it's a tie with Marie Rakowski, but it's actually Catherine Arden, because where I loved Marie Rakowski's raw writing full of metaphors and just, you know, very well researched and all of that, Catherine Arden wrote just so magically. Like, it felt like there was magic on the page. I can't describe it anywhere, like any other way. I just remember the feeling it left me, and the beautiful scenes it created of like snowy Russia and the forest and the house spirits, and it's just, it kind of stuck with me. It's Catherine Arden. I really need to read the sequel because the first one like blew me away. Then we have newest fictional crush, and give me another chance to fangirl about The Winner's Crime because it's amazing. And I'm gonna take this chance to kind of showcase my by-side, because my newest fictional crush is not Aaron from The Winner's Curse, it's actually Kestrel. She completely stole my heart. She stole my heart because she was not a fighter, but she was a strategist. She used her mind to do things and to outsmart people, and she played music beautifully, and she was very passionate about the things she did and the people she loved. And it's just the way she thought, the way she protected people. I love the fact that she wasn't a fighter, because usually in books we get characters that, you know, in order for a female character to be badass, she has to be a perfect fighter and a very smart lady, and she has to be talented at this and talented at that, and to have a solution for this and to have a solution for that. And she didn't. She was flawed, but she was also cunning. She was very determined, dedicated, and she just, I don't know, it's just the things she did for the people she loved. I loved her. I don't know, she's my newest fictional crush. Then we have newest favorite character, and I'm gonna stay away from The Winner's Curse Assemble, because this is gonna become a Winner's Curse fangirling video, which I will try not to do, and I'm gonna go with Locke Lamora from The Lies of Locke Lamora. Here's the thing, Locke Lamora is the leader of the Gentlemen's Bastards Club in The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is a band of thieves that make intricate plots in order to steal from the rich. And Locke Lamora is crazy. Literally, the guy is ridiculous. The plots he comes up with, because he's the brains behind every operation, and the plots he comes up with are ridiculous. I was fascinated by his craziness and his confidence in his plot, even when everyone else was like, this is ridiculous and it's not gonna work. And most of the time he would be so spontaneous, and he would change something in the plan, and I never could guess what he was going to do next. And there were so many times where I thought, this is going to hell. There's no way out of this. And there would be, because he would get like the crazy way out, but it wasn't a convenient way. Like, things would still like go horribly wrong. But I admired his rebellious side, the daredevil in him. It was really fun to read about. Next up is a book that made you cry. Here's the thing, I don't cry with books, not a lot. I cry with movies like a baby. I cry in TV shows, but in books, it takes a lot for me to cry. But I did cry this year. I decided to reread the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare, because I need to get on with the other trilogies, because I've been saying that Cassandra Clare is like my favorite author and I love her, and I haven't read all her books. So, right? I joined every single other person that has read Clockwork Princess and Bawled Their Eyes Out, and I can tell you with honesty that I spent the last 200 pages of the book crying like a baby, crying and laughing, and then crying again, and then laughing, and then crying again. And that happened for like 2 hours straight. Like, how long does it take to read like 200 pages? Like 2 to 3 hours. I was in my bed crying, laughing, crying, laughing, crying, laughing. It was a roller coaster of emotions. Did I just pain myself? I might have. Then we have a book that made you happy. I could argue that Clockwork Princess also made me happy, but I will refrain from choosing the same book twice. So I'm gonna go with the Kiss Quotient by Helen something. I think her last name starts with a Q. Anyway, the image is right here. This book is about Stella, who is a 30-year-old woman with Asperger's syndrome. She's very successful at her job, is extremely rich, but her relationships are not going well, and she believes it's because she doesn't know how to kiss, so she hires an escort to teach her how to kiss, and things escalate from that. And it was just a really, really fun, steamy, sexy book, which I wasn't expecting to be as steamy, because every single person that read it was like, this is so cute and fluffy. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be adorable. It was very steamy. And I really enjoyed it because there wasn't a lot of, conflict. There wasn't drama. It was just, two people casually falling in love and navigating through like the difference of dating an escort and dating while you have Asperger's syndrome. And it was just a beautiful relationship, and it made me laugh and it made me happy, and it was really, really fluffy. Next up is most beautiful book you've bought this year, and I'm actually in a book buying ban, so I haven't bought a lot of books this year, but I did buy one book recently which is gorgeous, and it's The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Look at the dragons. It's beautiful. I've been wanting to read it and have it in my hands for a year now, since it came out, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's finally here, and I finally have it. I'm not sure exactly what it's about. I know it's a fantasy with an LGBTQ romance in it. I'm guessing it has something to do with dragons, and apparently it's also epic and majestic. I have no idea what else it is about, and I really don't want to know. And lastly, it's the books you need to read by the end of the year. I mean, do you want a list? That's a lot of books. I'm gonna have a fairly free summer, and there's gonna be a lot of reading happening. So hopefully I'm gonna get through every single book I want to. But some of the books that I really want to read are the second book in the Bear and the Nightingale trilogy, hopefully the third book as well. Of course, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, The Dark Artifices by Cassandra Clare. Then I want to move on to Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. I want to reread the Percy Jackson trilogy and then read The Trials of Apollo, finish the Shadow and Bone trilogy before the series comes out, reread the Six of Crows trilogy because I love it. I would also really want to read The Ninth House, read a couple more nonfiction. I really want to read the Why I No Longer Talk to White People About Race, and a lot of other books. There is a lot of books that I want to read because, as I said, I'm very behind on releases. That was the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. I actually see why a lot of people do this tag. It's really fun. If you enjoyed this, please do subscribe and leave a comment down below to tell me if you've read any of these books, or if you want to recommend any books. I'm open to suggestions, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!